Hey class, Mrs. Gilling back here to go over your next video assignment. And this one's all about your project in units 1 and 2. So it's the first project of 2 that you're going to be turning in this course. So I'm going to give you some instructions on that, a little bit of help on that. But before I do, it's time for the bonus joke of the unit since you already got one earlier. So here's your bonus joke. My father was a lawyer for 25 years before he went to culinary school. Now he's a sous chef. Get it? Sous chef, like suing people, then sous chef, like helper chef. Oh, that's a good one. All right, let's talk about your project. So here's kind of the overview. If you remember from the beginning of the video of the course, excuse me, there's a bunch of videos that they had you watch with a scenario, and those videos are kind of popping up again. And so you get to be a part of the crime connection and help Jordan and Christina in an arson investigation. So that's the videos that maybe you've seen them already. There'll be a spot for you to see them again if you haven't. So you're going to show your knowledge by answering questions regarding that video, regarding the scenario, in lessons 2, 4, 6, and 8. So every other lesson right here, you've got some questions to answer for your projects. Now, just kind of a disclaimer, I think that you can technically answer them like all at once, but I wouldn't. I would wait till you get to that part in each lesson because you're not able to submit it until lesson 8. So don't be done until lesson 8. That's the best advice I can give you for it. I know strong mind stuff can be a little bit clunky at times, but just wait until you get to lesson 8. That's where the submit button should be. So here's some more information. So this is what you're going to do in lesson 2. In lesson 2, this will be the prompt. Here's the information Jordan has found about several different arson charges. Arson in the first degree, intentional fire damage to a building which results in serious injury or is done with an expectation of a benefit from the fire and a disregard for potential injury. Class A felony, 20 years to life sentence. Arson in the second degree, intentional fire damage to a building when someone else is present in the building. Class B felony, 5 to 25-year sentence. Arson in the third degree, intentional fire damage with no reason to believe the fire would endanger others. Class C felony, 3.5 to 15-year sentence. And then arson in the fourth degree, reckless fire damage to a building, Class E felony, 1.5 to 4 years. So based on the information you're going to learn about in these videos, you're going to answer a question. So Jordan now believes whoever set the fire will be found guilty at trial and sent to jail for at least 20 years. Although you hate to dash Jordan's hopes, explain to Jordan why that outcome is unlikely. Make sure to write at least 3 complete sentences. So with the stuff you're going to learn, this will be your question, and you're going to explain to Jordan, hey, this is why they're probably not going to get 20 years. So use the video information and then use this information that is provided for you in the question to answer that. So that's what you're going to do in lesson 2. Lesson 4, there's going to be some journalist notes about the series of crimes in the other town. Then in your notes, organize the information by listing all the crimes committed and noting whether each one is a property crime or a violent crime. You can use the table provided as a guide. And this is the table that they have. So what I just showed you is at the top, and then these are the journalist notes that you're going to look at. They tell you exactly what happened, and then you can use a table like this to say, this was the criminal act, this was the type of crime, and this is whether it's a property crime or a violent crime. So there's a lot of different crimes in here. Make sure to get as many as you can. If you stop at 1 or 2, you're not going to get full points. So make sure you're listing as many as you can, the type of crime, and then whether it's property or violent. In lesson 6, there's 4 questions, so quite a few. First, again, based on the information you've learned, assume that the men attempted to break into the house but discovered they couldn't pick the lock. What inchoate offense or other crime has each person committed? Explain your reasoning. Make sure, and this is just a note for me, to address the crimes committed by each person involved. So don't just do one of them. Go through each of them and explain what the crime for each of them is and why you feel that's the crime they committed. The second question, what possible legal defenses could these individuals use in response to criminal charges? So, if they were going to court and they had to say, hey, I'm not guilty, what defense could they argue to say they're not guilty of those crimes? Make sure to give a legal defense for each of the 3 individuals involved and say why you would use that defense. The third question, now assume the 2 men managed to break into the house. They steal several laptops and some audio equipment. The woman suggests they take their haul to a sketchy pawn shop she knows about. What crimes is each person guilty of now? So again, be specific, list each of the people and what crimes you think they're guilty of now and why. And then the fourth question there, what possible legal defenses could they use for criminal charges related to the burglary? So for this specific thing, what legal defenses could they possibly use? All right, lesson 8, the last one. Question number 1, what possible motive could there be for each of the incidents? For this question, address these incidents in particular. So there's 3 incidences you'll learn about, and for each one of these, you're going to give the possible motive that they have. So the mugging of the police officer, the theft and disappearance of the fingerprints, and the arson. So you'll list each one. So you'll be like the mugging, and then say, the mugging, the possible motive for mugging is this. And then for number 2, what type of mens rea might apply in each situation, and do the same thing. Address the mugging of the police officer, the theft and disappearance of the fingerprints, and the arson. I promise all of this is going to make a lot more sense once you watch those videos if you haven't and dive in. It should flow pretty easily. But here's kind of what I'm looking for when I'm going to grade your responses. So did you accurately answer the questions and explain your answers? So does it make sense based on course material? Did you answer the why? Don't just put burglary. Say, I think they should be charged with burglary because, and give me the why. Did you use complete sentences? I don't want one word answers. I want complete sentences or charts when they're required. So like the charts I showed you, you can use those for some of the answers as well. And then did you double check your grammar and spelling? Make sure that, this is a project, so I want the grammar to be good. So that's the last thing you need to do. If you have any questions at all about this project, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help. Other than that, good luck, guys.